This is Qtv News and I am Jennifer Sonko. Thanks for joining us. First, the main local, international and sports news headlines. Regional bloc ECOWAS announces a 12-month extension of the economic peacekeeping force in the Gambia. The Gambia has recorded an additional case of the UK variant of COVID-19 last week, according to the Minister of Health. The TRRC resumed its public sessions on Monday by continuing their investigations into the actions of the NIA. The Department of Information Services, under the Information Ministry in partnership with the network of community radios in the Gambia on Monday, held a forum to validate a background paper on a community radio media policy. In international news, pirates attacked a Turkish ship near Santorini in the Gulf of Guinea on Saturday, leaving 1 person dead and kidnapping 15 crew. We look into the increase in piracy in the region. Our U.S. correspondent gives a view of watching a U.S. presidential inauguration. In sports news, Gambia's under-20 team now know who their group opponents will be in the AFCON tournament, which kicks off in Mauritania next month. Week 2 of the GFF First Division League games saw a mixed picture as one match featured a glut of games, while in 3 other games ended goalless. Those were the main headlines, and now the news in detail. Do stay with us. Thank you for joining us, and now the news in detail. The 58th session of the ECOWAS Heads of State and Government has concluded with a decision to extend the mandate of the bloc's peacekeeping force in the Gambia for a further 12 months.
President Barrow was among the heads of state who joined via a video link and had 2 significant pronouncements regarding the Gambia. Paragraph 30 of the communique issued states, "The authority congratulates the President of the Commission for the implementation of the decision of the Authority of Heads of State and Government taken at its 57th ordinary session held on 7 September 2020 in Niamey, Republic of Niger, to transform ECOMIC into a police mission. It goes further to confirm that it has been decided to extend the mandate of ECOMIC for 12 months from 1st January 2021 and transform it into a police mission after Gambia's December 2021 elections. The body thanked Cote d'Ivoire, Ghana, Senegal and Togo for agreeing to contribute constituted police units to ECOMIC and the European Union for its financial and technical support. On efforts to revive the Gambia's draft constitution, the communique states, "The authority takes note of the political divergences in the country regarding the revision of the constitution as the country prepares for presidential and legislative elections at the end of 2021. It commends His Excellency Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, former President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, for agreeing to facilitate dialogue among national political stakeholders on the consensus issues surrounding the draft constitution, which is due to be put to a referendum in June 2021 before the presidential elections in December 2021." End of quote. Goodluck Jonathan was also commended for his efforts to mediate in Mali. In concluding the Gambia draft constitution-related decisions, the authority says it welcomes the progress made and calls on all political stakeholders in the Gambia to build consensus on the draft constitution, and calls on the relevant authorities to maintain dialogue for the adoption of the constitution and the compliance with the electoral calendar. Ghana's President, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, chaired the session, which also dealt with economic performances and implementation of integration programs, including creation of a monetary union, African Continental Free Trade Area. The authority takes note of the unfavorable development of economic activities in ECOWAS in 2020, which would be characterized by a 1.7% decline in real GDP following a 3.9% real growth in 2019 as a result of the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. To this end, it urges member states to accelerate and set up the implementation of measures to combat COVID-19 and revive their economies. They also discussed peace and security in the region, including congratulating the recently elected and re-elected leaders, the smooth transition in Guinea-Bissau, and the increasing threat of terrorism, piracy in the Gulf of Guinea, and conflict prevention. The date of the next meeting has not been scheduled. Mahmoud Lamin Choy, Qtv News.
The Gambia has recorded an additional case of the UK variant of COVID-19 last week, according to the Minister of Health. This comes after 2 other cases were recorded earlier from positive COVID-19 samples that were sequenced at the MRC laboratory. Mohamed Lamin Choi has the rest of that.
The announcement comes at a time when scientists have issued an alarm, which was echoed this weekend by Britain's Prime Minister Boris Johnson, that there is a realistic possibility that the UK variant of COVID-19 is more deadly than the pre-existing version. After months of sequencing some positive samples of the virus in the country, 2 UK variants were recorded. Through contact tracing and laboratory analysis of a positive sample, the result has registered the presence of a 3rd case in the country.
As we are aware, COVID-19 virus has started to develop other variants in other parts of the world. There are various variants, and the UK variant was detected here some time ago. We had 2 cases, but 2 days ago we confirmed our 3rd case. That was on Thursday, which was linked to the 2nd case. So it is presumed that the 2nd case that was detected, when there was contact tracing, we were able to detect another contact, a contact of that person who tested positive, and he had a travel history. So we presume that the 2nd case got infected from the 3rd case that was diagnosed.
As the coronavirus mutates, more variants are being recorded globally. And the worrying part of such development is the transmissibility speed and rate of the variants. According to scientists, the UK variant is 70% more transmissible than the common one around the world. This means, on average, every person infected has the potential to spread it to 70% more people, and then those people spread it to 70% more, and the number keeps rapidly growing. The Minister of Health calls for public vigilance and precaution.
We need to be still very vigilant as a ministry to step up our response and then to the whole community to ensure the preventive mechanisms are adhered to, the strategies, the hand washing, the use of the face mask. The face mask has proven to be very useful in reducing the transmission of COVID-19. And we urge each and every one of us to insist on wearing the face mask. We should put it on, and we should ensure that the people who come close to us also put it on. So that is one strategy, and then the education of the people, the risk communication and behavior change that we are enhancing so that people get to take responsibility of the preventive measures themselves.
When the virus spreads faster than usual, this puts more pressure on our health system. Even though there is not yet a scientific conclusion that it is more deadly, what all of us should worry about is the greater problem, because a fast-spreading virus can stretch our hospitals beyond their limits. The outcome of such worst-case scenario may lead to a further spike in death, given the drop in quality health care. In this case, without proper surveillance strategies and public compliance with health measures, the second wave of the virus can be catastrophic for a country that is reeling from the severe impacts of the first wave that cost over 100 lives and thousands of jobs. Mahmoud Lamin Choi, Qtv News.
The TRRC on Monday began its 20th session of the public hearings by continuing their investigations into the actions of the NIA. The first witness, Babukar Cham, a businessman from Brikama, said he was detained for 28 days for reporting a case involving drugs to the drug squad. Babukar C has the rest of that.
The witness, Babukar Cham, said he is well respected in his community and does not tolerate drug abuse. One day, Babukar said he got information about people discussing about drugs. He then phoned the Drug Law Enforcement Agency and informed them of this. At around 2 a.m. while he was in bed, Cham said the NIA came for him, searched his house before escorting him to Banjul. At the headquarters, the witness said he found some Bissau Guineans who were being beaten in relation to some drugs offences. The NIA, he said, accused him of having a special interest in the drug case he reported to the drug squad, which he denied. He further explained what happened.
Yes, when I was undressed, nakedly, and I went to the center and squad down for them to handcuffed.
Because you
were never beaten and you were not uncuffed. Even those who were already beaten, they were all still with cuff. But when I squatted nakedly, it's only God that came there with his help.
Babukar Cham said he was lucky not to be beaten because the NIA officials changed their attention to one of the arrested Bissau Guineans who was seriously beaten and sustained injury on his private parts. The witness said he was kept incommunicado for 28 days in a small cell and then later transferred to the police headquarters in Banjul, where he spent another 2 days before being taken to court and later remanded at the Mile 2 Central Prisons for 2 weeks.
And
one day they just heard about that their father is arrested because of selling drugs. That one. That I even forgot what I did at the NIA.
Cham told the commission that during his ordeal, his first wife developed high blood pressure due to stress and later died. Babukar Cham said his case was transferred to Banjul Magistrate Court, where he was granted bail, but spent 2 years going back and forth from the court until the judge acquitted and discharged him. Piracy, Qtv News.
We will take a short commercial break, and when we come back, there's some more local news stories. Do stay tuned. Welcome back from that short commercial break. If you're just tuning in, this is QTV News. Now, the Department of Information Services, under the Ministry of Information and Communication Infrastructure, in partnership with the network of community radios in the Gambia, on Monday held a forum to validate a background paper for the formulation of community radio media policy for the Gambia. Omar P. Jallo has the rest of that.
Community radios have been in existence in the Gambia for decades, but there has never been a policy document to guide their operations. Thus, the validation of this background paper is timely and crucial. Community radios in the country are known for promoting the socio-economic development of the country and enhancing community participation in the democratization processes. However, they are usually challenged with financing, making it difficult to sustain their operations. At the event, the Secretary General of the Network of Community Radios in the Gambia, Amadou Oba, said having a document that will guide the operations of community media and as well ensure that there is a governance structure to regulate the mode of programming in community radios is important.
Having such a document will really go a long way, one, in ensuring that there are structured institutions of community media put in place, because we having those challenges as well. You look at most of these community media houses being governed by a particular structure known as the Board of Governors. Usually they are not effective, they are inefficient, and also the programming as well. It has affected programming immensely, because you don't have people who are going to work for you because you are not paying them at the end of the day.
Saidu Jallo, the consultant who drafted the background policy document, called on the government and partners to support the community radios in the Gambia in the areas of capacity building and sustenance.
The bulk of the work I have done is referenced to the state of community media in this country, reference to some of the good things UNESCO had done on community radio.
The Director of Information Services at the Ministry of Information, Isa Davis-Ann, recognizes the importance of community radios and assures her department's readiness to partner and support community media.
The overall objective of the project was to contribute to a better democratic governance through improving freedom of the press and quality of information available to the population of the Gambia.
Drafting policy documents, programs, laws and proposals could be easy, but implementing them could become a challenge. A question I put to Amadou Oba.
You can never know until you are there yourselves. We cannot only be static at one place and start assuming. We want to be there to have the first-hand information and not depend on hearsay. So I believe at the end of this validation, we would be having a countrywide tour to not meet only with the media houses concerned, but the stakeholders and the community themselves, to hear from them.
The network of community radios in the Gambia was established in 2013 and registered in 2016 to coordinate and mobilize funds for the sustenance and building the capacities of staff in line with the ethics of journalism. It may not be a profit-making institution. However, it should be able to make money to continue operating. Reporting for QTV News, I am Omar P. Jallo.
Following the renovation of the Latrikunda Yiringanya market to the tune of $1.5 million, the Kanifing Municipal Council handed over the market to the community on Monday. Lola M. Kamara has the rest of that.
It was a joyous moment for the residents of Latrikunda Yiringanya after the successful completion of the market, which was close to collapse. At the handing over event, various speakers commended the KMC for what they call a job well done. Seinabu Martin Sonko, the Chief Executive Officer of KMC, expressed delight at the completion of the project, saying that the rehabilitation of the market was possible thanks to the support of the mayor and his team.
I want to extend gratitude to the Deputy Lord Mayor for supporting the Lord Mayor and supporting the administrative team, because without their support it would be very difficult. Even though the finances is on our side, we are to implement, but we have to agree on a strategy. It's not just we jump and undertake these developments without having to strategize them, plan the implementation process. So during that process, it's usually tough for the council because everybody, like I said in my speech, politicians, all of them want to put the interests of their communities or their constituents first.
CEO Sonko also challenged the people residing in that community to take ownership in making sure that the market is cleaned at all times.
We found a lot of trash in front of the market, which is not welcoming at all. So this is something that I want to put across to the community to take note. In as much as we would like to bring development and keep the environment clean, we cannot do it alone. They have to come on board and ensure that the environment is well kept clean.
Chebo Jeng, a youth representative of Latrikunda Yiringanya, feels honored because this is what the community has been yearning for.
I feel very much happy for the fact that it's a very huge development that we've been yearning for long ago, with the coming up of the Councillor Musa Ba, who doubled as the Deputy Mayor KMC, who came up with this initiative. We discussed at what level and, make sure that everything that we are yearning for come into being.
Musa Ba, the Deputy Mayor of KMC, said it is another historic moment for him and the residents of Latrikunda Yiringanya, adding that the market was in a very bad state and needed urgent intervention.
This is a big day for me. I must thank my committee, that is my Ward Development Committee, for their relentless support. Without them, I could have not been able to achieve this. So that is it. Basically, there are a lot of achievements that I've achieved within this short period, like other speakers alluded here. Yearly, I will excavate the canal in order to mitigate flood within the community.
This rehabilitated market is among other markets built by the Kanifing Municipal Council through the taxpayers' money to help bring positive developments in our communities. For QTV News, Lolly M. Kamara.
Concerns over data privacy and security have abounded among experts and WhatsApp users in view of a new privacy policy the social media giant plans to implement. The policy will force users to share with Facebook certain personal information. QTV's Mamadou Lamin Choi takes a look at this development and what local and international experts have been saying about it.
A proposed new privacy policy has popped on the screens of WhatsApp's over 2 billion users, with terms and conditions asking users to sign up to or lose access to their accounts. Through this policy, WhatsApp says it would share users' personal details such as account registration number, transaction data, service-related information on how you interact with others, including businesses, when using our services, mobile device information, your IP address, and may include other information identified in the privacy policy. Similar privacy updates were made previously which allowed users to opt out. This time, however, there is none. It is a question of take it or leave it. Some experts see it as an abuse, given the social media company's dominant position in the market. While the policy has raised concern for WhatsApp users, experts are worried that this might compromise privacy and increase vulnerability for security risks that await the implementation process down the line.
Looking at the Gambia, this Facebook WhatsApp saga has been ongoing, but most people are not taking it very, very seriously. And we need to take cognizance that you are in the Gambia, but probably you might travel in the West. So your metadata is very, very important. And we don't know who these giant tech companies are sharing our metadata with. You understand? Sometimes incidents will happen and people are easily, traced and located in the developed world because of platforms like this.
Many have taken to social media to voice their concerns about the update. Already, WhatsApp is paying a heavy price for this plan to update its privacy policy. This has given a big boost to other messaging apps such as Signal and Telegram. While Telegram recorded 25 million downloads, there have been 7.5 million downloads for Signal in the first 3 weeks of January, according to Analytics Farm app. This may seem like big numbers, but small compared to WhatsApp. In what appears to be a damage control or damage limitation campaign, WhatsApp has postponed the implementation of the new terms of service from February 8 to May 15. In response to critics, the company had clarified that the policy was meant to enable a new set of features around business messaging and provide greater transparency over the company's pre-existing policies. In the wake of WhatsApp's proposed new privacy policy, there has also been a search for an alternative on the African continent. A new messaging application named Subfrica has recorded a spike in downloads across Africa, including some in the Gambia.
We are happy to be users. Most importantly, I found this as a package for Africa. Not only is it intended for markets in Africa or people in Africa to connect among themselves and with the diaspora, the message is clear. This is from an African, somebody trying to use his minimum resources.
The app was developed by TechFrica, a company founded by a US-based Sierra Leonean. He told QTV that the app was tailor-made for the African continent. Subfrica was at its beta stage when it was released on Google Play Store in December and plans its full launching in March this year. Currently, TechFrica is working on updating the app in preparations to compete in the tech market at a time when most users are more interested in data privacy. Along the way, an end-to-end encryption, a technology tool with a system of communication where only the communicating users can read the messages, will be incorporated.
Our final product, which will be out in March, we'll showcase the end-to-end security, we'll detail the terms and conditions and everything that needs to be done. And right now, our team is working every day steadily to get it done. Like I said, this was a beta test, and that's what I want people to understand. And and even though we appreciate the love that we've gotten from our fellow Africans and others to download the app, this was a test. We were testing Subfrica to see what features to add, what security measures to use. There's so many different things out there. At the end of the day, you want to make sure you invest in something that's going to work for everybody, that's going to protect them.
As digital technology continues to shape the modern world, the companies that develop the technology are businesses that want to make a profit. The coronavirus pandemic saw increased use of messaging and video conferencing technology. Users' data can be very valuable for targeted advertising and marketing, for example. However, users are becoming more sensitive to security and privacy issues because that is what ensures their safety and protection online. Mohamed Lamin Choi, QTV News.
We will take another short commercial break, and when we return, we will take a look at international and sports news. Do stay tuned. Welcome back from that short commercial break. If you're just tuning in, this is QTV News. On to some international news. Pirates attacked a Turkish ship near Santorini in the Gulf of Guinea on Saturday, leaving 1 person dead and kidnapping 15 crew. The vessel, MV Mozart, sailing under a Liberian flag, was traveling from Lagos to Cape Town, South Africa. Momodou Mbodj looks into that story and the increase in piracy in the region.
About 100 nautical miles, 185 kilometers northwest of the island nation of Sao Tome and Principe, pirates attacked the vessel, and after 6 hours of struggle, they forced their way into the area, where the crew had locked themselves for safety, according to Turkey's Maritime Directorate. One Azerbaijani crew, an engineer, and the only non-Turkish crew was killed. 15 crew taken hostage and 3 left on board. Before the pirates left the ship, they reportedly disabled most of the ship's systems, leaving only the navigation system for the 3 remaining crew to find their way to port. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has twice spoken to the senior officer remaining on the ship, the Turkish president said in a tweet. The vessel was heading for Gabon's Port Gentil, according to reports, and the Turkish foreign minister is reported as saying coordinated negotiations were underway to secure the release of the abducted sailors. The Gulf of Guinea stretches thousands of kilometers from Angola in the south and off the coasts of Nigeria, Guinea, Togo, Benin, and Cameroon to Senegal in the north. The Gulf is now said to have eclipsed the Gulf of Aden of Somalia as Africa's piracy and armed robbery hotspot, according to a maritime watchdog, the International Maritime Bureau, the IMB. The number of crews snatched there jumped from 78 in 2018 to 121 last year, amounting to more than 90% of the kidnapping reported at sea worldwide. And incidents in the Gulf are particularly dangerous as over 80% of attackers were armed with guns, according to the latest IMB figures. The matter was raised at the recent ECOWAS Heads of State online summit meeting, which expressed grave concern at the development. The authority called on member states to ratify the African Charter on Maritime Security and Safety, the Lome Charter, adopted on 15 October 2016, to promote maritime cooperation among member states. And the authority also appealed to host countries of the Multinational Maritime Coordination Centers and the West African Regional Maritime Security Center to make the necessary administrative and logistics arrangements to ensure the full operationalization of the centers, including the provision of accommodation for international staff deployed to the maritime centers in their respective countries. The authority requests member states and the Commission to accelerate the implementation of the decision so adopted. The Gulf is home to sub-Saharan Africa's 2 main oil producers, Nigeria and Angola, whose international shipping routes have been seriously disrupted, inflicting huge economic costs. In 2017, the cost to West Africa was estimated at more than $818 million, including naval activities and contracting security services, according to a report from Oceans Beyond Piracy, a program that studied maritime attacks. The report also found that whereas in the past criminal gangs stole oil cargo, they have over the past decade switched tactics to kidnapping sailors for ransom as crude prices have fallen. In July 2019, 10 Turkish seamen were kidnapped off the coast of Nigeria and released less than a month later. The West Africa coast in recent decades has also become known as the Cocaine Coast, a strategically unique trade union between Latin America's cocaine supply and Europe's market. According to one report, when shipments from Latin America reach the coast of Guinea-Bissau, the cocaine is broken into smaller consignments that are then sent by fast boats to the coast of Morocco and Senegal, or moved in trucks through Mauritania and across the Sahara to the Mediterranean coast. The death in a bomb explosion of General Batista Tagmena, head of the Bissau army, and the hacking to death of President Nino Vieira within 24 hours of each other were said to be linked to a fight for control of the drug trade. And Interpol has confirmed that cocaine trafficking in West Africa has supported several Hezbollah operations in Lebanon as well as Al-Qaeda since at least 2006. Analysts and counter-terrorism experts explain that profits from cocaine trafficking have allowed the Lebanese network to diversify its portfolio of illegal activities in West Africa. When oil reserves were discovered off Senegal and Mauritania's waters, West African states met to find ways of tackling the growing challenge of piracy in advance of the expected surge in oil and gas flows. The latest attack reminds us that there is everything still to be done. A decade ago, when the Horn of Africa was plagued by piracy, a European mission called Operation Atalanta kicked into action in 2008, and attacks gradually decreased in subsequent years. In the face of our often touted lack of capacity, it might take a similar arrangement to roll back the menace. Otherwise, the ill-gotten loot from the criminal adventures might end up in the hands of our own Hezbollah. For QTV News, I am Mamadou Mbouch.
In the USA, our correspondent Hawa Cisse tells us what it was like to view the inauguration of a new president in the United States.
This Wednesday, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris were sworn in as president and vice president at the U.S. Capitol in Washington, D.C. Joe Biden was sworn in as the 46th president of the United States.
Preserve, protect, and defend.
Preserve, protect, and defend.
The Constitution of the United States.
The Constitution of the United States.
So help you God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
Just 2 weeks ago, rioters stormed the same building to overthrow the results of the election.
On this hallowed ground where just a few days ago, violence sought to shake the Capitol's very foundation, we come together as one nation, under God, indivisible, to carry out the peaceful transfer of power as we have for more than 2 centuries.
In his inaugural speech, President Biden emphasized unity and called for an end to America's uncivil war.
We must end this uncivil war that pits red against blue.
Urging Americans to put their differences aside and unite.
Let's begin to listen to one another again. Hear one another. See one another. Show respect to one another.
Breaking barriers, Kamala Harris was sworn in Wednesday as the nation's first female Black and South Asian American vice president.
Who are all about to be part of America is a historic moment of firsts.
Giving young girls hope and the ability to see themselves as a presidential candidate.
Davy Harris do solemnly swear.
I, Kamala Davy Harris, do solemnly swear.
That I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
That I will support and defend the Constitution.
Reporting for QTV News, I am Hawa Cisse.
On to some sports news. The draw for the Africa Cup of Nations Under-20 was made on Monday, 25th January, and Gambia's youngsters now know who their group opponents will be.
Host Mauritania, doubtless pleased to be welcoming all these teams, may not be so pleased with the draw they've been landed. They've been handed a tough draw to face former champions Cameroon, Uganda and Mozambique in Group A of the tournament, following the draw conducted in Yaoundé on Monday. Gambia also faced a tough group, which includes 2 former title holders, Ghana and Morocco, as well as Tanzania. In Group B, Burkina Faso will play Tunisia, Namibia and Central African Republic. CAF Interim President Constant Omari, Executive Committee members Acting General Secretary Abdul Naimin Ba and Deputy Secretary General Anthony Bafo were amongst those in attendance. Host Mauritania will kick off the 12-team competition against Cameroon on the 14th of February in Nouakchott. The tournament will be played in 2 cities of Nouakchott and Nouadhibou. Nouakchott will host 2 groups at the Stade Olympique and Stade Cheikh Ould Boudia, while matches in Nouadhibou will be played at the Stade Municipal de Nouadhibou. This is the first time the total Under-20 Africa Cup of Nations has been expanded to 12 teams, instead of 8 in previous tournaments. The tournament will be played from between the 14th of February 2021 and 4th March 2021. The draw was conducted in Cameroon at the ongoing Total African Nations Championship (CHAN) by CAF Head of Competitions Khalid Nasser, assisted by Cameroon legend Emmanuel Mbon. Mamadou Gajaga, QTV News.
Week 2 of the GFF First Division League game saw a mixed picture as one match featured a glut of goals, while in 3 other games, chances were created but teams failed to score. The latter included Birkama United and Elite United, whose coaches say the players are young and are learning. More in this report by Mamadou Gajaga.
Sometimes all footballers need is calm and composure to finish off scoring opportunities. Unfortunately, this was not the case in the match between Birkama United and Elite United, played at Basori on Saturday. The players, especially those in attack, created space and chances but failed to score, even when they appeared to be in the best of positions to do so. One such player was Aliou Barry, who had a fine run in between 2 defenders only to see his shot blocked by a defender. His coach, Major Sen, appears unworried about Aliou's missed chance and seemed forgiving of some of the chances missed by his players, saying these are young players and they are learning.
It's due to their inexperience, that's why, but we have clear-cut chances which could have easily be converted into the net. But nonetheless, they are young players. We will go on and keep on working hard so that they will easily know when they are in the box what to do.
Midway in the first half, Modulamin Jabate had a good run on the left, beating Elite United's defence, but blasted his flashing shot wide, to the dismay of the spectators. A similar opportunity fell to Malik Sambu in the 76th minute. He needed just a tap-in, but put too much power in his shot, which went wide. Modulamin Nyasi, head coach of Brikama United, says they have been training to perfect their shooting accuracy, but once they come into the real match situation, it is completely different.
Could have finished with Elite since first half because we created a lot of chances there. Some of the chances are clear-cut chance that you can even tap and score. But then there are young players, coming into the first division for the first time, with all the efforts they're doing, and then create chances and then squander. I think we have to forgive them and then go back. We work hard with them, so they will come up. Yeah, for the past, this week all we were even training on shooting, and then the training and the game is quite different.
While Hawks and Armed Forces match saw a 6-goal thriller. In addition, Brikama United and Elite United drew 0-0. Marimo Banjul United also ended goalless. Mamudu Gajaga, QTV News.
Before we end this news bulletin, let's take a quick look at our main stories. Regional Bloc ECOWAS announces a 12-month extension of the ECOMIC peacekeeping force in the Gambia. The Gambia has recorded an additional case of the UK variant of COVID-19 last week, according to the Minister of Health. The TRRC resumed its public sessions on Monday by continuing their investigations into the actions of the NIA. The Department of Information Services under the Ministry of Information, in partnership with the network of community radios in the Gambia, on Monday held a forum to validate a background paper on community radios in the Gambia. In international news, pirates attacked a Turkish ship near Santome in the Gulf of Guinea on Saturday, leaving 1 person dead and kidnapping 15 crew. We looked into the increase in piracy in the region rather. Our U.S. correspondent gave us an insight into watching a U.S. presidential inauguration in the USA. In sports news, Gambia's under-20 team now know who their group opponents will be in AFCON tournament, which kicks off in Mauritania next month. Week 2 of the GFF First Division League games saw a mixed picture as one match featured a glut of goals, while in 3 other games ended goalless. Well, that is all we have for you in this edition of QTV News. Join us at 10 for another bulletin. Thanks for watching and have a great week ahead. Do take care of yourselves.